subscribe the Kidzu channel and press the bell icon for more moral-based kids stories. Story name is Three Little Pigs. An old mother pig sent her three piglets to seek their own luck. Each pig met a man with materials to build a house. First pig, straw house. Suddenly a wolf came by. The big bad wolf huffed and puffed, blowing the door down. The pig ran to his brother. Second pig, stick house. The wolf again huffed and puffed, blowing the door down. The two pigs ran to their brother. Third pig, brick house. The wolf tried to blow the door down but failed. He attempted to enter through the chimney but got scalded by hot steam from a kettle. The wolf ran away, never to return. The three smart pigs lived happily ever after in their brick house. The Lion and the Camel. In a dense jungle, a lion lived with its three assistants, a jackal, a crow, and a leopard. Due to their proximity to the king of the jungle, the assistant never had to look for food. One day they were surprised to see a camel, which usually lived in the desert. Wandering in the forest, they learned that the camel lost its way. The lion gave it shelter and protected it. One day the mighty lion was injured in a battle with the elephant. Unable to hunt, the lion and the assistants were left hungry. The three assistants suggested that they should eat the camel, but the lion refused to kill it. The assistants hatched a plan to make the camel offer itself as a food to its protector. The crow, the leopard, and the jackal each offered themselves as a food to the lion, which it refused. Seeing this, the camel also did the same and was instantly killed by the lion. Story name is Of Crows and Owls. The birds of the jungle gathered for a meeting to discuss an important point. All birds except the crows showed up. The birds wanted to choose a new king as their present king. Garuna was too busy and did nothing to protect them. After some thoughts, the birds agreed that the owl could see at night and should be made the king. On the day of the coronation, a crow came and questioned the birds why they chose the owl as their king. On hearing the argument, the crow pointed out the flaws in owl and suggested that Garuna should remain the king. The coronation was cancelled and the owl, which was disappointed, declared that owls and crows shall never be friends. The crow repented, giving advice and flew away. Story name is The Thief, the Brahmin and the Demon. A rich merchant was moved by the plight of poor Brahmin in his village and donated 2 calves to him. The Brahmin was thankful and took good care of the calves, which soon became strong bullocks. The Brahmin plowed his land with the help of these bullocks and earned a livelihood. In the same village were a thief and a demon who wanted the bullocks for themselves. One night, the thief and the demon came to a Brahmin's house and got into an argument about who should have the animals. The quarrel woke the Brahmin, who started chanting sacred mantras on seeing the demon. The demon ran away and the thief was chased away by the Brahmin. Story of the Potter. A poor potter lived in a village. One day he fell into a ditch by accident and got hurt. The wound left a big scar on his forehead. The potter moved to another village when his village was affected by famine. Luckily, he got work in the king's court. The king saw the scar on the potter's face and assumed that he was a warrior. He treated the potter with respect and made him a prominent member of his court. In the following months, the kingdom was attacked by the enemies, and the king asked the potter to lead the army. Afraid to do so, the potter told the king the truth about himself and how he got the scar. The potter left the kingdom, leaving the king embarrassed. Story name is The Fox and the Grapes. A hungry fox searched the countryside for food. Spotting a lush vineyard, he coveted the plum purple grapes. Despite his best efforts, jumping, piling stones, climbing the wall, and digging underneath, the grapes remained out of reach. Exhausted, the fox conceded defeat. Those grapes probably were not worth the trouble. He muttered, they must have been sour, bitter, or infested with worms. Some creatures cannot accept that they cannot have everything they desire. His name is the smartest giant in the town. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a giant named George. George was the tallest and strongest giant in the town, but he was also very clever. George lived in a small cottage on the outskirts of the village. He spent most of his day helping the villagers with their daily tasks. George would lift heavy loads, fix broken bridges, and even assist the farmers with their harvest. One day, a severe drought hit the village, and the crop began to wither away. The villagers were worried and didn't know what to do. George, determined to help, thought deeply. I need to find a way to bring water to our village, George said to himself. George remembered an old abandoned well on the other side of the mountain. He decided to investigate. Using his incredible strength, George lifted massive rocks and dug through the earth. Finally, he reached the well and discovered it was filled with fresh water. But there was a problem: the well was too far from the village. George thought for a moment, then came up with a brilliant idea. He used his strength to carve out a channel through the mountain, creating a path for the water to flow into the village. The villagers were overjoyed when they saw the water flowing into their village. Their crops began to grow again, and the village prospered. From that day on, George was known as the smartest giant in the town. The villagers celebrated his kindness,